Do you want to know what really happened in the fight between Shakur Foster and Ray Ford? I got you. In this video, I will break down the good, the bad, and the ugly of Foster versus Ford. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I am back with some more boxing. The good. Shakur, congratulations. Awesome performance. I have nothing but good things to say about Shakur Foster. Throwback fighter. He put up a great fight. He won the fight, and he was pretty surgical in there. And when I get to, make sure you stay to the end of the video, when I get to the bad and the ugly, you'll understand why I'm giving Shakur so much praise. But great performance on both sides. Offense, defense. That is true boxing, right? You can't just excel at offense and then not be mindful of your defense. So both sides, he had it covered. Great jab. When he went to the body, it was beautiful. Very sneaky in nature, but he was just dumping. Pow. I wish he would have went to the body a little bit more, but he still got the job done via majority decision. After he beat Ray Ford, who had a lot to say beforehand, he then doesn't really even celebrate too long, goes and beelines straight to the ropes, pulls him down, and there's a ringside Shakur Stevenson, and he's like, come up in here, come up in the ring, and then proceeds to call him out. Again, stay to the end of this video, and I'll talk about the Shakur section in the back half. So, brilliant performance. What I notice about Shakur is he's kind of like the promotional company spoiler, right? You put him in on a PBC card. He is not the favored fighter. It's not his preferred network. You know, he's with Top Rank. And you put him in with Ray Vargas, who was with PBC. You put him in with Stephen Coolboy Fulton, who was with PBC, on a TGB Promotions PBC card, and he's getting the job done. This fight with Ray Ford was an Eddie Hearns and rematch room card. Got the job done. So you're up against it. However, now let's get to the bad. The bad is they try to job him. This was not a majority decision type of fight. I don't even think it was particularly hard to score, and yet it was almost disastrous. One judge had to fight an actual draw, which is absurd if you know what you're looking at and you know boxing. No way you could have scored this fight for Ray Ford. No way you could have scored the fight as a draw. And I understand different people are influenced by the commentary, but not I. I don't care what the commentary is talking about, right? I know what I'm seeing and what I'm witnessing. Also, I'm working on a Clarissa Shields follow-up video. Hit the bell icon, subscribe to the channel. A lot of you guys have been checking out that content as well. So make sure you come back, and it'll probably be up this evening. So if you're interested in that, for the Clarissa Shields follow-up video, I got that coming. Your boy out here working. Your boy out here working. Hype me up. Now, like I said, the bad was they try to rob this man. Look at these scorecards. How does one judge, just think about how cap boxing is and how corrupt. How does one judge see it 114-114, which is even a draw? So it was a 12-round championship fight, right? That means Ray Ford won a clean 6 rounds and Shakur won a clean 6 rounds. That's how you get that. How did Ray Ford win 6 rounds at all? He was getting washed towards the end of the fight especially, and Shakur was pulling away. That first judge, horrible scorecard. I know they're not going to fix it, but they need to pull that person's ability to judge or pull their license or whatever. Horrible. How does one judge see it that close, right? But then this judge has it 118-110, which sounds about right. And then the other judge had it pretty close, but 116-112, all in favor, or 2 out of the 3 in favor of Shakur. Now, again, they say a picture says 1,000 words. Right when they announced it, like the second of, I took this screen grab. O'Shaquie knew he won the fight. Look at Ray Ford. He looked down, like energy looked down, deflated. He knows he lost the fight. So the bad and the ugly was this. The scorecard was capped, and this what hurts boxing, because after a good fight, you want to see something real. Last week we just dealt with the Usyk fight, and Usyk is losing to a kickboxer of all people, right? Somebody who the public felt had no chance to win. The guy's doing better than expected, and as soon as he's hurt, the ref hurries up and stops it in the last second. Boxing is just corrupt and is completely dirty, right? This scorecard, having it like this, reminds me of Floyd when he fought Canelo. Remember when Floyd, Judge C.J. Ross had a scorecard just like that. It said it was a draw, knowing damn well Canelo lost and got bodied by Floyd Mayweather. But now it looks like Floyd got a majority decision when it really absolutely should have been a unanimous decision, right? There was even a round where O'Shaquie, I believe round 11, O'Shaquie had Ray Ford's nose busted up. He was on the ropes kind of shelling up, and he was really just mixing him and putting him in the blender and pop, 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 pop. And Ray Ford had zero answers. And it looked like if he kept applying that pressure, that he was going to get the stoppage, or at the very least hurt and drop Ray Ford. No way that this fight was close. And I'll take it a step further. The ugly. Y'all muff don't know about boxing, period. Too emotional, too biased, paid off, whatever the situation is, that applies to all of y'all. I told you on social media that O'Shaquie Foster was going to win this fight. Long arms, better boxer. You guys, because you believe in this Avengers thing that they got going on, the secret brotherhood of the Yaya sisterhood of the traveling pants or whatever, y'all believe in this fake Avengers stuff that Keyshawn, Crawford, Ray Ford, and Shakur and all these dudes got going on, and you fell into the hype. Ray Ford is not a bad fighter, but you don't really pick a shorter, more like of a brawler that loads up on his shots. You don't typically pick that over a pure boxer who's good offensively, defensively, boxes better, has a good jab, has a chin, has better fight experience, hasn't lost in quite some time. He does have losses, but he's matured since then, right? He's the champion. Ray Ford, the way he fought, he actually sold out. He was never going to win the fight. In the championship rounds, you were down bad. The commentary crew literally said he need a knockout to win or several knockdowns, right? So y'all going with that buddy stuff, that don't work in boxing. I try to tell you, this is what I hate. I hate it, but then I love it. Let me explain. I hate it because I got to listen to this horse in the interim, and then I'm always proven right. While everybody else, except for a handful of people on Twitter, right, and myself, were rocking with O'Shaquie here, all of the Avenger supporters that like Shakur and Crawford and Clarissa Shields and Keyshawn and that whole regime that encourage all them dudes, Montana Love and Shakur and Keyshawn and Ray Ford, to go help Jake Paul to try to beat Gervonta Tank Davis in the fight that got canceled and never even happened. This is what y'all get. This is y'all karma. And furthermore, Lamont Roach, add him to the list, right? All these dudes were like, I'm picking Ray Ford. Based on what? Based on what? And then the funny thing is, like I said in this tweet, these dudes in current boxing, these Gen Z boxers, right? They be like, oh, these YouTubers, you fans, y'all don't know nothing about boxing. But Shakur was the one that picked Ray Ford. Lamont Roach, y'all the boxers, y'all picked Ray Ford based on like friendship, because nothing on paper, when you look at the matchup, really leaned towards Ray Ford. And then what happened in the fight was exactly what I thought would happen, right? Now, I'm not saying you could count Ray Ford out. completely, but O'Shaquie just beat Stephen Coolboy Fulton in a similar fashion, where he chopping him up, boxing, the footwork, giving some angles, switch hitter. Ray Ford couldn't even beat Nick Ball, who's, in my opinion, one-dimensional, and then later gets cooked by Brandon Figueroa, right? Nick Ball, cool, but he's like one-dimensional. But because these guys have this fake Avengers thing going on, they was rocking with it, you know? So the boxing brotherhood, these Avengers or whatever that they talking about, they look foolish. They look foolish. Point blank, period. Right? The boxing brotherhood took a hit. Zaquin Moses, the cousin of Shakur, he didn't look great in his fight. And then Ray Ford, who everybody backed. And here's another thing. O'Shaquie is raw. He should probably be on the back half of the top 10 pound for pound based on these performances he's putting up, if I'm being honest. He keeps defying the odds, everything against him. Remember, like, Ray Ford's training in Houston, Shakur training in Houston. They're all buddy-buddy, right? So they were all helping Ray Ford to try to beat O'Shaquie Foster. But just like Floyd Mayweather always said, he can't fight for you. Shakur can't fight for you. Your coach can't fight for you. The fans can't fight for you. And this was just an example of that. Ray Ford, I don't even think the fight was really particularly close. Early, first 3 rounds, all right, cool. Kind of close. But I don't have all my rounds memorized. I don't. But I gave Foster it was like every other round for the first half of the fight. So I gave Foster like round 1, round 3, round 5. So I gave Ray Ford 2 and 4. But O'Shaquie got rounds 1, 3, 5. So that's already 3-2. You know what I mean? In the first stanza of the particular fight. And then as the fight wore on, it got worse for your boy, Ray Ford. And let's talk about the ugly. The ugly is DAZN sucks. They have the worst commentators in the game, bar none. Horrible commentary. Like, you would swear they're being paid off or paid to advocate for certain people. Nothing they were saying really indicated what we were watching, right? I get it. It's an Eddie Hearn card, and Ray Ford's an Eddie Hearn fighter. O'Shaquie, again, was the odd man out. He's a top-ranked fighter, right? So it sounded like they were all in cahoots, hoping Ray Ford was going to do better. They kept trying to paint this narrative that the fight was super close. Again, in the first 5 rounds or so, Foster had 1, 3, 5, right? And then in the back half of the fight, he won like multiple rounds in a row, like 7, 8, 9, 10, like all, definitely the 11 and 12. So using the first 3 rounds, or the first 5, 1, 3, 5, he definitely won round 11 and 12. So he's already has 5 rounds out of 12. And then again in the championship, the back half after round 6, he started cooking. Round 11, it looked like he hurt him. And this is how pitiful DAZN's commentary is, right? Where they keep painting these pictures. And then if you follow me on Twitter, I was going round by round giving my assessments. How come every time I do that, the end result actually adds up to what I said early in the fight where anything could have technically happened? But when DAZN is talking, what they're saying in the first half of the fight is never the actual outcome in the fight. They were glazing Ray Ford for sure, right? Making it like it was super close and hard. They even had a boneheaded comment. They said something to the effect of neither guy needs to make an adjustment. What are you talking about? What fight does neither person need to make an adjustment? I've never even heard of that, right? So look, they were making it like rounds 1 through 6 were super competitive. They even gave Ray Ford rounds 4 through 6. I'm here to tell you, if you know what you're looking at, there were consecutive rounds that Foster won back to back. There were no rounds where Ray Ford won 3 in a row. There was no point of this fight where he should have been given 3 rounds in a row, but this is what they had in their scorecard. So if you correct that, again, I don't have every round memorized, but I know he didn't win rounds 4, 5, and 6. So if you actually correct that to what it should have been, look at the scorecard then. Ray Ford only would have had round 9 and 3, or 1 and 3, excuse me, right? And it should have been 10, 9, 10, 10, 10, and then from 7 to 12, it would have been 10. So really, the fight wasn't that close. That's the point I'm making to you guys. The fight wasn't all that close. Ray Ford, there were little bursts where he was trying and he would like try to gun it. He was it's a fight. You're gonna get hit. You know what I mean? You're gonna get hit with something, but it was just too far and few in between. We're talking about 3-minute rounds. I'm not giving you the round when you barely working. You looking tired. You breathing with your mouth open, and he's bullying you. He's switching up. They were saying stuff. It just was horrible commentary, people. They were saying stuff like, "Oh, Shaki needs to make adjustment. Ray Ford's making him make adjustment," and it was like, what are you talking about? They were saying Shaki needed to make all these adjustments, and these were rounds that I was giving Shaki clearly. So it's like, why are you telling the audience that the guy who's winning the round need to make the adjustment? Meanwhile, Ray Ford breathing with his mouth open, winging shots, missing, rabbit punching. Early in the fight, round 1 or 2, I forgot. I think it was the first round maybe, right? There was some wrestling. This boy Shaki took him and then pushed him off like that. The man Ray Ford, I don't know what type of weight cut he had, because that's another excuse that they started trying to come up with for Ray Ford, right? They're like, oh, man, his weight cut was hard. No. Y'all were saying he was winning the fight, essentially. Don't try to switch it now when it looked like Shaki is in gear and is cooking this man. But anyway, the man got pushed and flew out of the ring. It was literally the funny look. You see him out, and he looked stunned. It was like really kind of slow to get up. So that part was funny to me, right? How you let this man just toss you out the ring like Uncle Phil does Jazzy Jeff. Look, that guy, bro, and y'all talking about Ray Ford was competitive. Bro, he was getting slid. How you let another man throw you out the ring? Look, the guy had to grab, look, this Jerry Springer looking dude had to grab him because he flew out a ring like it was a slip and slide. Come on, bro. You lost the fight just based off this picture because you let a man slide you through the ropes like that. Not really a close fight. We've seen a better version. Here's the thing. We've seen a better version of Ray Ford, right? Even the Nick Ball fight, in my opinion, that was more competitive, right? I thought Nick Ball won the fight, but it was definitely more competitive. After the halfway mark, it wasn't really that competitive. You remember Shakur, who picked his brother to beat Shaki and was talking greasy? This is him when the camera showed him. Does this look like a confident friend that Ray Ford is doing what he needs to do to win? The man looks shook. Does that look like the face of someone who knows his friend is winning a fight? I've been to several fights, ringside and all that, credential. I've been to several fights, and I know a lot of fighters. That's not how I look when the fighters I know that I'm rooting for are winning. Why you be like eating popcorn, dancing in the ring? It's a good time. You like in between the rounds when they playing the DJ spinning music, you having fun with it. You rock it. You right you right here with it. This man looks shook, right? He looked shook because he knew his boy was getting cooked. Now, I guess now is a good segue. DAZN's commentary is absolute trash. Sergio Mora, horrible. All of them are really horrible. But boxing can't grow like that. The man got cooked. But let me talk about Shakur. more ugly, right? Because I already told you the good and bad and some ugly. The rest of the ugly is on Shakur Stevenson. Now, for the record, let the record show O'Shaquie did tell him to get in the ring. So it's not like Shakur just did it on his own accord. I get it. But what happened next was horrible, in my opinion, from Shakur. One, look how big Shakur looks. Boxing is fake, I try to tell you. This man, the same guy who refuses to go up to 147 and keeps telling you he's small, look how big he looks next to O'Shaquie Foster. Right? And I'll move it over a little bit. Look at how big this guy looks. But then people say, you called out Conor Benn at 154 and 147. Fight Devin Haney at 147. Y'all both need a good fight, right? Go fight Ryan Garcia. The man Shakur is little by little. He's a great fighter, but he keep getting exposed. In this confrontation, he was like, you small, you little as, and he was cussing. The man, Shakur is just not really like sellable. For real, for real. He talk all the gangster mob ties stuff and you too little, I'm going to knock you out. And then seldom knocks the people out. You know what I mean? And then you're acting like you're way too small to be moving up to 147. You're like, oh, I'm not moving to 47. You guys can't pressure me to fight at 47. But then you look way bigger than him. And he just fought at 135 with Fulton, right? And you look way bigger. And then O'Shaquie did say I'll fight him at 40 or 35, but you know what Shakur is going to prefer. He going to prefer the advantage and fight at 140. I don't want to see this fight with a 130 pounder at 140. I don't care that he said that. Just like I didn't care Ryan Garcia was like, oh, I could drop down to 140. You look like you could barely make weight for the Barrios fight. I don't want to see that. Why do I want to see that when somebody I know is completely, the weight is too far apart. And then Shakur out his own mouth said he was going to go back to 135. He was thinking about it. So I don't mind the fight at 35. Don't want to see it at 140. If they could do it at 135, cool. Because that means he got to give some and go up to 35 again. And then Shakur fought Teofimo. He got to take some too and drop the 5 pounds. So that evens it up. But Shakur looked huge. He looked huge and being the same person like, man, y'all trying to pressure me. And he literally said that O'Shaquie was small. You too little. I stopped you in sparring. I made you quit or whatever he's saying. So, again, I'm definitely about this fight. I would support it, but only at lightweight, at 135. I literally don't want to see it at no damn 140. Because why does Shakur get to, he's not like this Gervonta Davis where he's a massive A-side. Why he keep getting his way, right? Telling Devin Haney, fight me at a catch weight or a rehydration clause or come down to 140. And the same thing to Ryan Garcia, right? Who are you, bro, to be calling all these shots like that? You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm not a fan of that. You don't want to move up again, right? But you want O'Shaquie to move up again. Make the fight at 35. I think that's fair for both of y'all, right? And let me keep cooking. Speaking of ugly, another thing that was really like ridiculous from Shakur is this. This man just beat your boy that you said was going to win. After the fight, the man was yelling, "You're a bum. You're a bum." Bro, get this generation out of here. They are terrible ambassadors for the sport of boxing. Terrible. How are you going to say he's a bum when, one, he's a champion, two, you said he was going to lose, and he cooked your man and was mixing him in round 11, right? And to be honest, it looked like if O'Shaquie Foster was going to get a bit more aggressive, it looked like he could have did it and did it safely, and he could have really stepped on Ray Ford. However, he's an intelligent fighter, right? So he's not going to overdo it, and he's going to be smart about it. So I'm not even mad at that. But for real, if he was down or something, it looked like he could have turned up and went to another level. Cardio was looking great. His defense was great. Some of those shots, them wild shots, were just missing, but they were missing, right? And he smartly would clinch to smother the shorter fighter, and all the shorter fighter could do was rabbit punch, right? So those little opportunities, he never really let Ray Ford start getting off and like teeing off on him. He would clinch, wrap him up, just boxing 101. Wrap the man up, referee call a break, you reset, and he's frustrated, and then you get back on your footwork, get back on your jab, blah, blah, blah. Beautiful boxing by O'Shaquie, and this fool Shakur talking about you're a bum. Bro, these dudes, they're nothing like the Floyds, the Pacquiaos, the Oscar De La Hoyas. They don't even make sense. They don't even know how to trash talk. And to me, I think there's a time and a place. The man just won. He's a champion. You said he's going to lose. And you're like trying to upstage him, saying this, cussing on camera. It's just like, send the effort contract. It's just like, just ratchet the way you do it. You know what I mean? Right? Floyd even told Shane Mosley, nah, this is my night. I beat Marquez. Because Shane got up in the ring and was like, oh, fight me next. And he was like, come on, Shane, don't disrespect me. Shane, don't disrespect me. That's what O'Shaquie said. He was like, don't disrespect me, bro. You know? And the nerve of you. How are you going to call someone a bum and you fought Padley and you trying to build him up because there's someone you fought? When Padley fights, Shakur be like, let's go, Padley. Man, I try to tell you, Padley's tough. Bro, these dudes are insane. You're trying to sell the world on Padley and make us believe that this domestic level guy is way better than domestic level. But then there's a black American champion that you used to be cool with, you used to spar with, and he's a bum. And for real, the other part, I told you I was finna cook. Hype me up. I can't be outthought in the sport of boxing, bro. I can't. So your man's got ragdolled threw all about the ring. Like, you ain't got no type of muscle memory or nothing. You just gonna let him like encroach you and like hip toss you out the ring or whatever happened. Like, come on, bro. What are we talking about? But now that we're on the subject of Shakur, this is Shakur's best wins former opponent, and that's Teofimo. Teofimo fought the same guy that you see on the ground, Steve Claggett. Not only did Teo fight him, he struggled with him and didn't impress, right? He did not impress. And then you have Adam Zim or whatever in the UK, and he stopped him in 3 rounds. So Teo couldn't stop this guy, Steve Claggett, and struggle with him low-key, struggle to look good at least, right? And then Adam Azim, he bodies him in 3 rounds, drops him in the second, and stops him. This is an opponent that Shakur's best win struggled with. So now we got to look and ask questions of, when is the last time Teofimo really impressed you, right? Even the Josh Taylor win, that was a good win, but Josh Taylor, life and death with Regis Prograis. Who is Josh Taylor for real? You know what I mean? I get it. He was a champion. He beat Ramirez, but like, there's questions about Josh Taylor. He couldn't beat Jack Catterall in 2 fights. You know what I mean? So when you go through the hierarchy, it's like, who are these guys? So for me, like I've been saying, Teo is Shakur's best win, and he has not looked good, in my opinion, since the Lomachenko fight, right? He didn't look good prior to the stoppage versus Pedro Campa, his first fight at 140. He definitely didn't look good in the fight with Claggett, who Adam Azim destroyed. Teo going the distance with him in Florida, where he's from, right? Teo didn't look good in either of those fights. He didn't look good versus Sandor Martin, got dropped and was like, oh, do I still even got it, man? We already know George Kambosos, who Devin Haney later would cook, Lomachenko later knocked out, Richardson Hitchens later knocked out, right? But George Kambosos holds a win over Teofimo Lopez. So while Shakur's calling people a bum, you got to look at your best win. You got to look at your best win. Your best win is Teofimo. And you're like, man, I want credit for that. Teo ain't looked good in a while. That's why I told you, and everything I'm saying now, I said beforehand, right? I said it before the fight happened in January or February, whenever it was. I told you, I'm not really even looking forward to that fight because I already knew the deal. That was an easy fight prediction. That was an easy fight prediction for me. So Shakur out here calling people bums. You're fighting Artem Haratunian off a loss, Nakatani or whoever his name is. You're fighting Teo, who again hasn't looked good in a while, and you're talking about fighting a bunch of people, but you're not fighting them, right? We're supposed to give you a bunch of credit for William Zepeda coming off of 2 Tevin Farmer fights where he at least lost one of them, for real. But then Oshaki's a bum, bro. And then what makes me mad is you got these fake like FBA muff up in here, and they'll be like, oh man, you're hating on a black fighter, and you're saying it to black fighters that do nothing but hate on actual black fighters. Y'all sound sick. Y'all sound stupid, right? Peep. To the idiots, see, you don't even know how to battle for black culture properly, right? You talking about, oh man, ego, you said something. I say what's true no matter what your shade or complexion is. That's how that works, right? But you got these fake dudes who would try to make it a black thing, like, oh man, you said this about Shakur, you hated on a black fighter. That's all this muff do. Oshaki not black. And Shakur calling him a bum, but then ask him about William Zepeda. He'd be like, oh, he's tough. He throws a lot of punches. So William Zepeda's better, coming off 2 rough performances with Tevin Farmer, who Floyd Schofield knocked out in 1 round. Is William Zepeda truly better than Oshaki, right? All he do is throw a lot of punches. That's why we haven't seen him back in the ring since. And he staggered you with a jab, right? So who's really disparaging black fighters? Shakur be like, Tank's a weirdo, black fighter. Beef with Devin, calling Oshaki a bum. But then he'll try to uplift Teo. Oh man, Teo's good, man. It was like a movie when I was in there. Trying to hype himself up and try to hype his victory up. We want to see you fight black American diverse and versatile styles. Oshaki, Devin Haney, right? Even Floyd Schofield, reschedule that. I don't want to see you fight no damn Zepeda and Paleta and El Paso and all these people. Like, I don't want to see that. We know you could box, right? But do that against somebody that stylistically is more of a threat. We know that William Zepeda lacks the depth. He lacks the experience. He not like I would like Shakur to fight, if he's going to fight that style. I would like to see him have fought like a prime Lucas Matisse, Ruslan Provodnikov, right? A Maidana. That would show me something, because that caliber of puncher is different, because they can hit you with one shot and you might be in some trouble. William Zepeda ain't cracking like that. I don't care what nobody said. He not cracking like Maidana. Like, y'all don't really know boxing. Adrian Broner's a tough muff, and he got a chin. And he was not doing bad versus Maidana, but when Maidana fainted like he was going to the body, but came up top and cracked Broner, he was through the ropes off of like a single shot. I need to see, if you're going to fight a brawler, I need to see you fight somebody like that, where it's inherent danger, like Tank. You play around with Tank, one shot could do you in, right? Or if you're going to fight someone mad aggressive, Gary Antoine Russell, another black American fighter. That's a different style of pressure. That's like a barbaric, overwhelming pressure. You know, I would even take the guy that Gary Antoine Russell fought, right? The dude from, I believe, Japan. That would be better than Williams Zepeda to me. Yeah, fight him. Andy Hirioka or whatever, right? Because he got an 80% knockout ratio. He definitely got a chin. And here's the thing. Shakur, he not hitting like that, like power-wise. He could box, but he's not hitting with power-wise. So when you got a Gary Antoine Russell or Hirioka and guys like that, if they don't respect your power, it could get real interesting. Even a Ryan Garcia fight. And this dude's a southpaw too. You know these Japanese fighters be real tough, right? Even a Ryan Garcia, right? And he's 5'11". Fight him, right? You want to fight really Shakur Foster and bring him up to 140. Fight this cuz. Fight the Blade at 140. I would see these fighters don't want me to play matchmaker because I'll put you in the real matches because I know each person's style, right? I feel like that would be more telling than Artem Haratunian off of loss, Zepeda coming off of 2 bad performances with Tevin Farmer, right? But Shakur will probably not fight the people I want to see him fight. It is what it is. But O'Shaki did his thing. The commentary was god-awful. That's why what happens at the end of the fight is almost like a surprise if you're following what DAZN was saying, because they're making it seem like one guy's fully in charge or is super close, and then you see a scorecard like 118 to 110, and you're like, hey, I thought Mannix and Mora and these DAZN guys said it was a super close fight. And like, how do we get here? That's why I encourage you to watch boxing, know what you're looking at, and learn how to judge, learn what they're scoring with, learn how to break down for yourself so you don't have to rely on these people that likely have an agenda. Ray Ford didn't really do much of anything, right? I literally can't think of, like, when I watch good fights, I could be like David Benavidez, David Morrell. I could be like, damn, round 11 was a good fight round for Morrell. I can't even tell you Ford, like, best punch or best round kind of thing, right? He didn't really have that many moments. He had small spurts. He looked flat. He looked depleted. They were making excuses. Oh, his weight cut. I don't care. You a fighter. Figure it out. You get paid the big bucks for that. You know what I mean? And you already moved up, and you're talking about I feel great. So how is DAZN trying to come up with these excuses now? Talk about, we talked to him in the fighter meeting, and he had a tough weight cut. Well, tough titty. Whose fault is that? Shakur and him should have ran more miles or whatever. So props to O'Shaki Foster. He did his thing. Definitely, like I said, put him on the back half of the top 10. Usyk barely even beat a kickboxer. So some of these new dudes with performances after performances, you got to start considering some of these other people who are sleeper people. I really like the boxing that I've seen from O'Shaki. Very slick, changed up his pace, his rhythm. He was talking trash in certain moments, good footwork, very good defense, because, again, there were small stands that Ray Ford was trying to take where he was just like trying to gun something down and load up and do these like Mike Tyson leaping punch out punches. But it definitely wasn't his night. He looked flat footed. He looked defeated, you know, in this fight, especially in the back half. He didn't really have no answers. And it was a terrible look when allegedly DAZN saying it's a close fight, and then you get busted up bad in round 11, which would have, even if you thought it was close, which is cap, but even if you thought that, round 11 would have been imperative that you win and not get cooked. And he was on the rope getting fried. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I wasn't feeling the disrespect from Shakur Stevenson. I'm all with trash talk, but I don't think you should take somebody's moment and try to upstage them like that. And, again, to call that person a bum, and he threw your mans up out the ring. Like that. Look. Like, he really threw him out the ring. He threw Cut out the ring like that. And then the Avengers fans, they were like, man, disqualify him. That wasn't no DQ, because Ray Ford looked like it looked like Ford, like he didn't, I don't know if he didn't have no legs or what, but he just allowed that to happen. And like the dude just like, get off me, and you fly through the ropes. Like, come on, bro. That was embarrassing. That was embarrassing. And then on top of that, you look at the buildup and the face off, and when they were talking, you were like, oh man, I can't wait. At the press conference, you were like, I can't wait. You can't wait for what? This what you couldn't wait for? To have your legs in the air like you sliding into home with the San Francisco Giants? Like, this what you couldn't wait for, cuz? Man, that man was like, I can't wait. Sis, you've been talking a lot. You've been talking a lot. See, that's what I'm saying. I promise you on everything. These new boxers, it's like hard to have faith in, because I'm not trying to be rude, but a lot of them just aren't good enough to have a Floyd Mayweather run where they just go and they're undefeated for many, many years and no one can beat them. A lot of these young cats have discipline issues. Like, I don't know, but I would say Ray Ford probably fits in that category. How are you breathing so hard in the first half of the fight? And O'Shaquie looked like he had unlimited battery. He did not even look tired in the 12th round, and you look tired early in this fight. Like, especially when he just like throws you off and matadors you, and you can't even like gather yourself to not fly out the ring like Superman. It's just weird. Very weird. And again, you and Shakur and Lamont Roach and all y'all, oh, he's going to knock him out. Lamont Roach gave 2 predictions, and they was both wrong. He was like, I got a double prediction. Ray Ford by knockout or Ray Ford by decision. And it was Ray Ford by loss. Ray Ford by getting thrown through the ropes. Like this is WrestleMania, SummerSlam or something. And Ray Ford was talking spicy. Man, I can't wait to get my hands on you. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see this white man grabbing your back because you getting thrown out the ring, cuz. He says, yo home to Camden. Oh, wow. Man, stop. So, yeah, I don't know what DAZN was talking about, but I thought it was a highly disappointing performance by Ray Ford. He was pretty much getting cooked from what I've seen, right? And if you disagree, you're probably just being contrarian. Let me know what rounds you gave him. Because, like I said, you getting thrown out the ring, like your feet aren't in the air like that, bro. I can't give you this round just off this imagery. How am I going to give you this round? You doing push-ups or whatever's going on. You know what I mean? You letting this man manhandle you and throw you up out the ring. You were slow to get up. You didn't have no pep in your step. Like, even in the 12th round, you needed the 12th round. They were saying you needed a knockout to win, right? You needed a knockout to win, and you didn't even look like you wanted it. There was no sense of urgency, and that's disappointing from somebody who was talking a big game beforehand. But as far as Shakur, he looked huge. Look at him right there. He looked huge, and he talking about he want to fight at 140. I promise you I don't want to see the fight at 140. Congrats to O'Shaquie Foster. He did it again. He definitely is the spoiler man in boxing. For more accurate breakdowns and deep dives like this video, subscribe to my channel, hype me up. O'Shaquie Foster versus Ray Ford. It was a solid fight. Great performance by O'Shaquie, proving the haters wrong, defeating the Avengers with no help. And that's